Hi, I'm going to be making a family recipe. It's actually something that we have had every year at Christmas. It's a brunch, and it's something that my mother-in-law had been doing since she was a girl, and her family handed down. They did this every Christmas for brunch. And so it was always a favorite. It was always delicious. The thing of it is, with this particular recipe, it's prepared and put in the refrigerator overnight. We're not going to do that. I'm just going to put it in the refrigerator for an hour because I have done it that way and it turns out just fine. I like to have all my ingredients handy, ready. I kind of botched the cheese. It's better, it involves minced ham, and I bought this ham that's diced, and I'm going to mince it. I like it minced because it just soaks it in, the flavor. Somehow the consistency changes a little bit when it's minced as opposed to just the cubes of the ham. But I botched cutting the cheese because I tried to use my cheese cutter, and it's soft cheese. So it's better if you could get already sliced cheese. By the way, I do a lot of cooking videos, and one thing to know is my dog always barks during my cooking video. And then you need eggs. I've already got them in a bowl. They're at room temperature. It's good to have your eggs at room temperature. Just makes it better. I read why, but I can't remember. All right, let's get going. You probably want to know what this recipe is called. That's right. It never was named. It was ham and cheese bake. I'm calling it ham and cheese lasagna because it's a layer dish. So that's what I'm going to call it. Got the ham in here. This is the diced ham that I told you about, and I'm going to just get that minced up, and then I want to show you what it looks like when it's minced, because to me this is the key to this recipe, is having it minced and not just diced up or cut up. I mean, you could do it that way for this recipe, but somehow the flavors are different. I think they would be different if they were not minced. So this is my handy dandy mincer, spiralizer, and everything. There's the minced ham. Now when you make a mess, you give it to your dog. Here you go. Only if it's healthy. Now as far as measurements, I put it in this measuring cup because I've never really pre-measured anything. It's just kind of like you do lasagna. You throw everything together and you layer it. But I did put a measurement for this. This is 2 cups worth of minced ham, and I've got 4 eggs here for this size baking dish. It's a small baking dish. You're going to double up on your recipe ingredients when you're feeding a larger group. This is good for 2 people, maybe 3, probably 2. Get your baking dish ready. I'm smearing butter inside the dish. Never use margarine, please. Just don't do it. Margarine is very bad for you. So this is butter. I just smeared the inside of that just to get that ready so that when I'm finished doing all this, I could start layering it for you, and it'll be ready. All right, so with the eggs in a bowl, I am going to add just a little bit of milk, and it could be half and half, it could be heavy cream. I'm out of heavy cream, but I normally actually do this mixture of eggs with heavy cream. Oh, don't forget to add some salt and pepper to your egg mix, and then you want to whisk that up with your handy whisker or a fork. Don't matter. Who cleans up as you go along? I ended up cleaning some of the dishes. Who does that? Nobody? Oh, just me? Okay. So you get this whisked up really good. Just keep whisking till it's all whisked up. That looks good to me. Now that the egg mixture is done, throw that in the sink, and you're ready for the next thing. We are ready for layering. I use gluten-free bread. So I'm going to take, how many slices? I'm going to take 2 slices for this size here. And I am going to, 2. I'm going to cut off the crust. You don't have to cut off the crust. I like doing that, but it's not necessary. It's just one of those things that, to me, the crust gives a crusty taste. Maybe that's why they call it crust. All right, so I fill the bottom with the bread. See that? Easy. Easy peasy. The next thing is to take the cheese and put it on top of the bread, like so. And we're just layering this bread with cheese. Just get it covered up. And of course, you wouldn't have these broken up pieces. You're not going to see it, so it's cool, because you're just going to blend everything in. Now we're going to take the minced ham and sprinkle that on top. I'm getting pawed by my dog. At least she's not barking. She wants a piece of this cheese. I'm going to give it to her in a minute. So fill this layer with your minced cheese, with your minced ham. And you know what? I did 2 cups, but it may not take all of it. I'm going to leave it left over for an omelet. Any leftovers that you have, you can use it again. All right, so now we have our layer of minced ham, the bread, the cheese, and the ham. Now I am going to pour the egg mixture right over this. If it's not enough egg, I use 4 eggs, but I think I'm going to do 1 more egg. I'm going to do 6 eggs, okay? This recipe is 6 eggs. Now I'm pouring the rest of this egg, the additional eggs, into this because I want it completely covered. I don't really want the ham showing. What's going to happen when you put this in the refrigerator for an hour or overnight is it will soak in. Now I like to top off everything with some shredded cheese. Hang on. Just shredding up some cheese real quick. If you already have shredded cheese, you don't have to go through what I'm doing. So I just needed a little extra cheese because I did run out of my shredded cheese that I did before. All right, here is the shredded cheese. I'm going to top that, everything off with shredded cheese. Oh, this is ever so good. And by the way, this isn't all there is to it, because after we put it in the refrigerator for an hour or overnight, there's a topping, a sauce that goes over this after it's baked. So this is going to bake at 350 for 1 hour. But first things first, let's get this in the refrigerator. I want to show you what it looks like with the layer of cheese. Okay, here we go, in the fridge. Now while that's in the refrigerator, soaking in, I'm going to take a cup, about a cup worth of pork rinds. I used to use cornflakes, but it's not a healthy alternative for people that don't want sugar. And so what I have is natural sweetener. I'm just going to substitute and make my own thing, which I've done when you don't want bad cereals. So if you use regular sugar, I'm sugar-free. I use natural sweeteners, and in this case, this is monk fruit, but you could use erythritol or any of that. So basically, I measured out a cup of the pork rinds, and this is a tablespoon of, this isn't a tablespoon, it's more than a tablespoon, it's a scoop. It's a scoop of monk fruit. say a tablespoon, plunk it in there. And then I'm just going to mix that together. What I have in my saucepan that I'm going to heat up this mixture. This is 3 tablespoons of butter. Not margarine, butter. So I mix all that, the sugar with the pork rinds, and I'm going to put it in the melted butter mixture. This is going to go over the top of the ham and cheese lasagna, and then it's going to go in the oven. So this is the topping for it. After that, after it's baked, we're going to make a mushroom sauce, a mushroom soup sauce. Okay, so that's melted, and there goes the pork rinds mixture. And now with the butter, this is just going to give it a coating to put on top of the eggs, as I said. So it's been in the refrigerator soaking in for the past hour. I think the reason people in our family have done it overnight is because they like to prepare this kind of dish at night and then just throw it in the oven in the morning before the guests arrive. So I am just sprinkling over the mixture that I made of the pork rinds with the butter, melted butter. I sweetened it with natural sweetener. Again, if you don't have natural sweetener and you have sugar and you use sugar, you can use sugar. Just not part of my recipe. Okay. This is going to give it a crusty topping. A little bit more. There we go. Okay. There you have it. It's going in the oven for 1 hour at 350. I've just finished getting it out of the oven after baking for an hour. It's quite beautiful. Now, we want that to cool down a little bit. Let it cool for 10-15 minutes. While that's cooling, scoot it over here, I'm going to make the sauce that's going to go over it. I'm going to use the organic cream of mushroom soup, and I'm just going to put it in a little saucepan and heat it up. And all that does is give it a sauce afterwards, which you'll see. But there's no real steps to this. I usually make it from scratch, but in this case, it's already made. So I'm just going to heat this up. Probably not going to use all of it. I'm just going to heat up a little bit. That way I don't use it all up for just myself. So you just heat this up while that's cooling. Everything will be hot when you're ready to serve, so that's what you want. So don't do this part until you're ready to serve. You could do it the last 5 minutes of it baking or while it's cooling. I think it's better to do while it's cooling. Okay, last step here. I'm just going to cut into, I'm using a spatula. And I'm just cutting this delicious lasagna. I've never called it lasagna before. This is going to make 4 servings because I'm cutting it in squares. Alrighty. Can you see that I cut it into squares? I cut it into 4 squares. And actually, I think it's enough for 1 serving each. Like for that, it's a good size. Now look at the layers that we're dealing with in here. You see that? And now for the topping. I think this really gives it that final gourmet meal touch. And that's all there is to that. See the sauce over it? You just pour it right over. Now, when I just cut into that, I want you to see, without the glare, there's a bit of a glare, all of the different layers of food. We have the cheese and the ham mixed in there, and then the sauce over that. Hot. Wow. This is just like the recipe in our family. It's delicious, and it's a big win for company when you have guests over, family, or just guests. It's a great brunch type meal. It's very filling. I mean, look at all that. Layers of everything. The only thing, sometimes I'll do another layer of the bread, but the last time I did that, it was a little too bready, and I think I should have sliced the bread thinner, and then it wouldn't have been so bready. I like this way much better. So it's delicious, but I'm gonna eat it, and I'm not gonna eat it in front of you. So try it yourself and see if you like it. It's delicious to me. So thanks for watching.